everyone, I'm Anna and I'm here to do my September wrap-up. I read a total of 4 books in September, which isn't much, but I have a reason why and I will explain at the end of the video. And almost all the books I read were very good, except for one that of course we'll talk about in the video. The first book that I read in September was The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is a science fiction novel that follows Genly I, our protagonist, which is the first envoy from the Ecumenal Empire sent to Winter. The Ecumenal Empire is a confederation of all the human-habited worlds, and Winter is inhabited by very special humans and they want them to join the Empire. But Genly A faces, apart from the usual diplomatic complications of his jobs, the shock that is to him that all the inhabitants in Winter are asexual, at least for most of the month. There's a couple days where they enter a thing called Kemer when they choose, well, they don't choose, they become either female or male and can then reproduce. I made a complete separate review of The Left Hand of Darkness explaining all the things that I love about the book and all the issues they have. But overall, I'm gonna say this is a really good book. It's very well written, it has amazing sci-fi elements and it's very interesting to read, so go check it out. Then I decided to pick up Joan Didion's The Year of Magical Thinking. I had read earlier, like a couple of years ago maybe, Blue Nights, which is the other book that Joan Didion has dealing with grief. Blue Nights is the book she wrote dealing with the grief after losing her daughter, Quintana Roo. The Year of Magical Thinking is about the death of her husband, which was also a famous author and was called John Gregory Dunne. Anyway, I really like, and it sounds weird, but I really like reading books about grief. I've read Blue Nights by Joan Didion, as I said, but I have also read The Grief is the Thing with Feathers by Mas Porter and a book by a Spanish author called Rosa Montero, which is La ridícula idea no volver a verte, which I don't know if it has been translated into English, but I will translate it as the stupid idea of never seeing you again. All this book deals with the grief, and some of them deal with the role of grief in modern society, how we have changed our perception of what is acceptable as a grieving person, mourning, all that kind of stuff. And I find it very fascinating and interesting. So since The Year of Magical Thinking fits into that category, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. It's not my favorite book that I've read about grief because it gets a little bit distracted because Quintana, Joan Didion's daughter, fell very sick after her father's death. So there's a kind of like, in mid-book, there's a huge deviation into how Joan Didion felt and dealt with Quintana's illness. But the parts that were about grief and the reflections upon society, reaction to grief, and Joan Didion's own efforts to like surpass her grief and continue to lead a normal, or more or less normal life, I found very interesting. I think it's a very interesting book to pick up. It's very personal, it's very moving, it's very intelligent book, and I think it has quite a reputation for being very good, and I think it's deserved. Next, I pick up a Spanish poetry collection from the 19th century, that is En las orillas del Sar by Rosalía de Castro. I've actually looked this up, and I don't think this collection has been translated into English. Some of Rosalía's work has been, but not this collection in particular. Maybe some poems, but nothing that I can tell you that go pick it up, because it hasn't been. Rosalía de Castro is a very interesting author. She's self-taught, she's from Galicia, which back in the day was a very poor region of Spain, and she's one of the first authors to use Galician, the native language of Galicia, in her poetry. However, this collection that I have here is one of her Spanish collections. It's written in Spanish and it's meant to be in Spanish. I I have high hopes of liking Rosalía de Castro because I found her a fascinating woman. However, I didn't end up connecting with most of the poems in this collection. There was a couple ones that got me very excited. They had the rhythm, they had the feeling, they had amazing language. But most of them were misses for me. They missed something. They weren't my kind of poetry. And although I could see the beauty and why some people really like this author, is not the kind of poetry that I usually enjoy. So I'm very sad about it, believe me, because I really wanted to like it. Also, and I don't know, this might be just my edition, because this is kind of like cheap edition. I bought it for like €2.50 in a bookstore that has like kind of specialized in like all cheap editions. And actually I should probably go to a library and check out other editions of the same collection to see if they are organized in the same way. But the way the poems were separated, some of them had titles, some of them did, and there were like sections, it became very confusing, sorry, and sometimes I was very lost. I didn't know if I was reading the continuation of a poem or another poem, and yeah, so that probably also took away from the enjoyment of the collection. So even though the poems haven't been translated into English, I want to read a little fragment of one that I really liked. That is about Rosalia's grief. Everything today is about grief, isn't it? About the death of her son, infant son. I will try to do my best to translate it, but bear in mind that the translation that will appear on the screen is mine and might be very faulty. Era apacible el día y templado el ambiente, y llovía callada y mansamente. Y mientras silenciosa lloraba yo y gemía, mi niño, tierna rosa, durmiendo se moría. Al huir de este mundo, qué sosiego en su frente, al verlo y alejarse, qué borrasca en la mía. So, you see, like, there were some very good poems and some things that blew my mind away, but I will say that 90% of the collection I didn't care for it, so I gave it 3 stars because the parts that I did enjoy, really enjoy, and I see her merit in doing this collection at the time. Yeah, I'm just sad that I didn't get to really enjoy it. Lastly, in September, I read Pereira Maintains by Antonio Tabucchi. This is the Spanish edition, and it's called Sostiene Pereira. You may recognize this title because I did review the graphic novel adaptation in my August wrap-up. And I really enjoyed the graphic novel, and it's probably my favorite graphic novel at the moment. So, even though I have a book ban going on, when I was at the bookstore and I saw this beautiful copy for €10, I had to break it and buy it and read it immediately. And I thoroughly enjoyed the novel as I enjoyed the graphic novel. The story is basically the same one. So the protagonist is called Pereira. He's the chief of the cultural section of a Catholic newspaper in early Salazar's Portugal. The Spanish Civil War is going on. It's I think 1938 or 7. Well, there is the middle of the Spanish Civil War. There's a lot of tension in Europe. The rise of fascism is all building up to the Second World War. So Pereira is a fat widower, a good Catholic, loves to translate French 19th century literature. He leads a quiet, very peaceful life, drinking lots of lemonade and eating lots of omelets. However, everything is about to change when he meets with a young journalist that has quite dangerous political views. So the novel tells all the changes in Pereira's lives. It's a very short book. It's about, I don't even remember how many pages it is. It's less than 200 ones, it's like 180 pages. It's very easy to read, it's very engaging, and it's very well written. And after reading both the graphic novel and the novel, I think I would recommend you read the graphic novel because the graphic novel tells the same thing as the book, but using a lot of visual elements that really fit the story, and the art style is amazing. So yeah, I still gave 5 stars to the book. That's how much I enjoyed this story and these characters. But however, I might do a video comparing the novel to the graphic novel. If you're interested in that, please leave me a comment down below telling me so. The reason that I read so little on September is that I was struggling to get through this book, Las Ilusiones Perdidas by Honoré de Balzac. The title in English is Lost Illusions. Of course, this was originally written in French, and this is a translation. It's translated by José Ramón Monreal. This is quite the 19th century novel. Oh my god, it's so dramatic, intense, and it has so much ramblings about things that I don't care about, like the state of journalism in Paris in 1824. So I will talk more in detail about this book in my October wrap-up, because I actually finished in October. I'm just gonna say that I enjoy it, but then again it wasn't quite my favorite read. It was a little bit... I don't know if you read Los Miserables by Victor Hugo, but remember that part when he goes on a rant about the Paris sewer systems? Well, there was a little bit of that here, not just sewers, but editorial world, journalism, and printing industry. And I just couldn't care less. But anyway, that's everything that I read or was reading in September. It was quite a good reading month, in the sense that I enjoyed so much most of the books that I read. What did you read in September? Have you read any of the books that I talk about today? Do you have any opinions that you want to share with me? Please leave me a comment in the comment section down below. I hope you like this video. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!